Hi everyone, in this video we are going to get the setup and general styles done for our website. So first off, go ahead and download the resource files for this website. When you download the resource files for this website from the video description, just go ahead to video description. You're going to see the starter files and the completed project. So go ahead, download these starter files, and then just go ahead and open it up, open the folder up with VS Code. You're going to see something like this. Now for this website, I've changed the theme of my VS Code. If you want to take a look at the available themes for your VS Code, just go ahead and say Control-KT, and then the list of the themes is going to pop up. For this website, I'm going to use Tokyo Night. So in case it is appealing to your eyes, you can just go ahead and you can search for Tokyo Night, and you can go ahead and it's going to say install. Just click on it, and it is a really cool looking theme. So there is this Tokyo Night version as well as the Storm version. So if you want to change it to Storm, just do Control-KT and then come down and hit enter. This is the Storm. I like the simple one, the first version, like just the simple Tokyo Night. So now that is out of the way, when you take a look at the starter files, you're going to see this images folder. Within the images folder, we have all of these. I'm just going to get rid of this. You're going to see all of these folders. All of them, they include all the assets for this website when we are going to use them. So there's going to be an index.html file, which is going to be empty, a style.css file empty, and an app.js file, which is empty. So within the index.html file, I've just provided the name for a website, and I'm going to open it up with live server. There we go. Let's just wait for it. Come on. Oh, there we go. It is already open. So this is our completed website, and this is what we are going to work on. So first things first, let's complete the metadata. The first one is going to be font awesome. Now this font awesome CDN that I'm going to give you, this is not limited. You can use that as many times as you want for as many projects, and it is completely free. After that, we are going to include Swiper.js. Now, because this is a JavaScript library, we need to include the complete code for it, and then we can extract or grab only one of the many different types of creating swipers or creating swiping galleries for our website. So when you just include this, it means that you are basically grabbing all the code that is available for the Swiper library. And then after that, we are going to have our CSS file. So this is the CSS file. I'm going to say link style.css. Let's save that. And in case you're wondering where is our Google Fonts link, we are going to include that in CSS. That is another way of including fonts or importing fonts into your website. So within the body, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a weird comment like this, and I'm going to say JavaScript files. So JavaScript files. So the first one is going to be the Swiper.js link. So this is the JavaScript for the Swiper.js. And after that, we are going to have our inline or local JavaScript, which is, I think, app.js. There we go. So the setup for HTML is done. Let's jump into CSS, and we are going to complete the general styles in this video as well. Now, I've already shown you how you can grab Google Fonts from the internet as well, how you can grab them. So it's fonts.google.com. Just go to fonts.google.com, and from there you can select any kind of fonts that you want. Now I'm doing this again in case you have not watched my previous two projects for this tutorial series, and this is the first project that for some reason you decided to start. So that's why I'm showing it to you again. So let me just adjust the mic a little bit. Cool. So the first font that we are going to use is, I'm not sure how I can pronounce this. Theti. I don't really know how this is pronounced. So this is our first font that we are going to grab. And I'm going to grab the 200, 300, 400, 500, semi-bold 500. These are font weights, and all of them are selected there. Let's jump into fonts. And the next font is going to be Man Rope. There we go. This is the next font that we're going to use. For this one, we are going to start from 200 and then all the way up to 800. There we go. So these are different font weights that we can select for our fonts. Now, all of the font weights that are selected here for Man Rope, close that, and for the other one as well. Now, we could either grab the link. Now, this is the link that you are gonna copy that, and you are going to put it in the metadata section of your HTML. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna click on the import, and this is the style that we can grab and we can import it in our CSS. So ignore this style element, just grab the CSS declaration, the something that looks like a CSS declaration. Ignore the opening tag and the closing tag for the style. Come into code, come in here and just go ahead and paste it. There we go. So this is the font that we're going to use. So we are going to use this font as well as this one. And the font weights, they're from 200 to 700 for the first font family and 200 to 800 for the second font family. I'm going to give you another weird comment as well. Let me just put it right there. So this is the fonts. Let me copy that comment. Now the font families, we need to copy those as well. Here are the font families, the code for font families. So I'm gonna go up. Let's create a comment. Paste both of them right here. So one of them is going to be font family. This one, both of them are sans serif. There we go. So after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create our reset. So in the reset, I'm going to grab all the elements, all the before elements, all the elements before pseudo element. That's technically the correct way of saying it. And all the elements after pseudo element. And I'm going to say margin is 0, padding is 0, and box sizing. Box sizing is going to be border box. There we go. And then we are going to grab this comment and we are going to paste it down here. Now here are our general styles. So general styles. There we go. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create our custom properties. For those of you who have started from this project and you have not watched my previous videos, custom properties are properties that we create on our own, and those properties are based on the kind of styles that we want to reuse within our project. And we create custom properties because if we want to change those styles in the future, it is going to be easier to change them collectively with custom properties, as opposed to going to each line of code where that property is repeated and changing it from there. That is going to be a little bit more tedious, a little bit more difficult. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the website theme. So custom properties, they're created within the HTML document or HTML element or the root pseudo class. Both of them are the same thing. Aside from the specificity, nothing is different. So root pseudo class and HTML element, both of them are the same thing. The reason that I'm using root is because it looks fancier. Now, first off, let's go ahead and I'm going to copy this comment, put it right here, and I'm just going to reduce this a little bit all the way up to here. There we go. So first, I'm going to decrease the font size of the HTML. So the HTML has a font size by default, it is 16 pixels. Now, because I'm going to be using rem throughout, a lot of rem throughout my project, rem is based on the root HTML font size. So one rem by default is going to be 16 pixels. So like 3.5 rem is a little bit more difficult to calculate. Like 3 times 16, that's 48, and 5.5, that is going to be 8, that's going to be 56, I think 56. So that's going to be a little bit difficult to calculate, but if I change the root element font size from 16 to 10, then one rem is going to be 10 pixels. And 3.5 rem, I know just very quickly, in less than a second, I know that it is going to be 35 pixels. That's why I'm going to change it. Now, if you can't control and if you can memorize that you have actually changed that, then don't do it. Just use rem and decrease it and increase it as you deem fit. For me, because I'm really used to this, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to change it to 10 rem. So this is the font size. Next up, we have the colors. So colors, custom properties are created by providing double dashes, and then aside from the first double dash, there is no difference between custom properties and regular CSS properties. Only custom properties, they start with double dashes. That is the only difference. And it is a best practice that the first word for custom properties, it signifies the nature of that property. So whether that is a width, the first word has to be like width. If the custom properties pertain to colors, the first word has to be color. So it's going to be color primary. We're going to use RGB 255, 255. And the final one is going to be 255 as well. Now I'm going to have a color primary -2. Let's end these statements with semicolon. This one is going to have a little bit of transparency. It's going to be 30% transparent. So this is our color primary. Now you know how you can create them. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to copy paste them because this is taking a long time. These are going to be our color secondaries. We are going to have 3 color tertiary. These basically, they constitute the color theme that we are going to use for our project. And we are going to have a color quaternary as well. Now these are colors. We also have gradients as well. We also have gradients for our project because those buttons, I'm just going to close that. These are actually gradients. So we need to be able to actually provide them. So coming here, I'm going to say gradients. There we go. So in gradients, we are going to have the same process for creating custom properties. I'm going to say, because this is a gradient, the first word has to signify that this is a gradient. So gradient, and I'm going to say gradient primary. Now gradients in CSS, they're created either using linear gradient or what was the other one? Linear gradient, and the other one is radial gradient. Kind of forgot that. It's really embarrassing, but I did forget it. So it's gradient. Now gradients, they have multiple colors, and there's the stops for colors, they change. So if I say to right, it means that all the colors, they're going to start from left and they're going to converge towards the right. So the final color in our color palette within this gradient, that color is going to be towards the right, and the first color within this color palette is going to be towards the left. So when I say to right, it means that the motion of the colors is going to be horizontal. If I say to top, then that motion is going to be vertical. That's how simple it is. It's really simple working with gradients. So the first gradient is going to be 254, 132, and 100 for green, for blue. And then it is going to stop at 0%. These are color stops that we provide them. And then we have RGB, the next color. That is going to be 254, 110, and 154. The stop for this color is going to be at 50%. And this stop, this basically defines where the color is being used. So if the color is provided to background of a section that has a width of 100 pixels, then 50% of that is going to be like 50 pixels. And it is going to stop. This color is going to stop at that point. And next up, we have RGB 254, 132, and 100. And the stop is going to be 100. Let's save that. So this is our first gradient. I'm not going to create the rest of them. You can see how tedious it gets. So we have gradient secondary, gradient tertiary, gradient quaternary, and gradient quinary. Let's move on. Next up, we are going to create our paddings. I'm just going to paste that there. There we go. So for paddings, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide some abbreviations as to what they actually mean. So first off, we are going to have sizing. And let me just decrease that a little bit. So in case you're wondering, this is how I actually approach my websites. First, I create a comprehensive set of utilities that I'm going to use throughout my project. And then when I dive into the actual website, the actual coding of the website, it's going to be extremely easy because I know I have all the colors, all the paddings, all the font sizes, all the font families. Everything is going to be created beforehand. And then when I go to the website, I don't really have to worry about any of those. I just have to worry how to create that website and how to make it responsive. So these are going to be abbreviations that I'm going to use for padding. So when you see XSL for padding, it means that it is extra large. Okay, let me just reduce this a little bit. Maybe provide a couple of more. There we go. So XSL means extra large. XL means just one extra large. There we go. L means large. These are sizings. There we go. So this means large. Let's provide a couple of spaces. M means medium. Let me just copy this space. There we go. S means small. And then in padding, we are going to have XS as well, which is going to be extra small. So these are the sizings for our padding. Now the padding is going to have a padding nature as well. Why nature? Because we have padding for top and bottom. We also have padding for left and right. So the padding for top and bottom, I'm going to call it horizontal. Let me just copy this so both of them look the same. This is going to be sizing nature. No, not nature. I'm just going to say orientation. So in which orientation does the padding actually occur? So let's just remove all of them. If it says H, it means that the padding is horizontal. What does that mean? It means the padding is being applied on right and left. There we go. Let me copy that. And then we have top and bottom. When the padding is vertical. And for vertical, we are going to use V. Let me just get rid of that. There we go. So these are the abbreviations that we are going to use in our padding. Let's jump into creating those custom properties. So first I'm going to have padding -XL. And then I'm not going to have double XL, so I'm just going to remove this. Cool. So XL, it means extra large, and then I'm going to say H. Now you know what this property name means. It means extra large padding for left and right. And I'm going to provide a calc function. It's going to be 2 rem. So the minimum size for the padding is going to be 2 rem. The maximum size is going to be 10 VW. Keep in mind, because this is horizontal, we are going to use VW, viewport width. When the padding is vertical, we are going to use viewport height. So this is padding -XL-V. So V is for vertical. We are going to use 2 rem plus 5 VH. Viewport height. There we go. So now you know how they are created. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to copy paste the rest of them. So these are all of our paddings as well. We do have the same thing for fonts as well, and I'm not going to waste your time. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to copy paste them as well. Just copy that, put it right here. So I'm going to go over them. So the sizing for font, we have XL, extra large, large, medium, small. Then we have XS, which means extra small. We also have C. C means customized. Sizing nature. Now, the sizing nature basically means when we decrease the width of the window, do you want the font to be decreased with the width of the window, or you want it to basically stay static? So if you decrease the width of the window, if the font size is being decreased, that means that it is a dynamic font size. But if you don't want the font size to be decreased, that means it is a static font size. So now that I'm looking at it right here, Enroll, let me just check one thing, because the way that I remember, I changed the font family for the website once. So if I just click on this, click on the H1, it says font family sub. Okay, that is the TT font family. I'm not really sure how that is pronounced. So that is the sub. Okay, yeah, it used to be this Dankrek cursive font family, but I changed that from that to Manrope. So I'm just going to write here Manrope, and it is sans serif. Sans serif. There we go. So if the width of the window is decreased and the font size stays the same, that is static. Shorthand is ST. The reason that I provide these shorthands is because it's really difficult to write all of this. The name of our custom properties, they're going to be overwhelmingly bloated. So I don't want to do that. So the font size for dynamic, you are going to have D. DXL means dynamic extra large. This is the font size for that. DL, dynamic large, dynamic medium, dynamic small. And then we have our static font sizes. So static extra large, static large customized, static large 3, medium customized, medium, small, and extra small. And these are our font families that we're going to use throughout the project. Now that we are done with with most of our general styles, there is something remaining here, and that is creating the overall layout. And I told you I'm going to do that in our next video. In this video, I just want to grab and basically get rid of all of the, get it done, all of the general styles, not get rid of them, of course. Just make sure that we are done with those and with the website setup as a whole. So the background color for this website is going to be our color primary. I'm going to set it. Now the color primary is white, and by default the background of our website is white. And you might be asking, okay, why do you change it from white? Now in the future, if you want to change the background color based on the color theme of the website, you can do that because I've explicitly specified that here. That's why. I'm going to provide a font family, a general font family for all of the elements, and that is going to be the font family, the main font family. So I'm going to say font family main, and the line height generally 1.6. We are going to change that. Now let's go ahead and let's grab all the anchor elements. Anchor elements, they have a underline by default, that is text decoration. Let me say decoration. I don't really like that. I'm just going to say none. And for all of the anchor elements, I'm going to provide a border radius of 1 rem. No exception for all of them throughout the website. Let's grab all the allies, and we are going to remove that bullet point, that disk for list items. So let's style none. Now from here onwards, I'm going to be creating some styles that we have not actually applied anywhere, but we are going to apply those to our sections. These are going to be utility classes that we are going to use for sections. Now, this idea is derived from Tailwind CSS. I really like Tailwind CSS. I'm going to provide you tutorials for Tailwind CSS. Don't worry about that. Now what Tailwind CSS does for you is you're going to provide classes within your HTML, and when you jump, no CSS, you don't do CSS in Tailwind for the most part. So when you jump into your web page, you're going to see not only you have created the content, but those classes, they're going to create the styles for you as well. So these styles, there are basically derived from the ideology of Tailwind CSS. Now there are going to be some styles that I'm going to use throughout this website, and instead of repeating myself, I'm just going to repeat that class name. And when the class name is added to that HTML element, all the styles that are going to be inherited by that HTML element automatically, so I don't have to really worry about it. First one is going to be section padding. When we get to creating our website, you're going to know what it is exactly that I mean. So the section padding for all of our sections that we're going to use for vertical. Now keep in mind, we have two different orientations for the padding. One of the orientation is vertical, the other one is horizontal. And we know when we talk about padding, and when there are two values, the first one is top and bottom, and the second one is left and right. So for top and bottom, I'm going to do XLV, so extra large vertical. For left and right, it's a little bit different than our previous projects, if you have followed those. And for left and right, I'm going to do XLH. Now you can see how easy it is to work with these. Next up, I'm going to create a section -- title. So the styles for all of these section titles, they're all going to be the same. So the font size is going to be var font size dynamic medium. There we go. Font family for the titles, font family is going to be var. Let me lowercase that. It is going to be the sub font family, so sub. Font weight is going to be 400. Text align, let's set it to center. Line height, this is what I meant by changing the line height. So for all of our titles, the line height is going to be 1.25. And position is going to be relative. So relative, because why do we need position? Relative is because of, let me just bring this down. So you can see this is the title, and it has some sort of style or line appended to it. So this is going to be created using a pseudo element, and we are going to create that for all of our titles, section titles. So this one has it, this one has it, all of them have it. So just instead of repeating ourselves, why not create it for all of them? So that is going to be a pseudo element. Now because it is applied before the element, I'm going to use before a pseudo element. It doesn't really matter which one you use, but I think this is semantically more correct. Pseudo elements need to have some sort of content. Even if it is empty, you need to provide this property. So position is going to be absolute. When we create any title and give it this class, you're going to see everything is going to be basically inherited from CSS automatically. You don't have to repeat yourself. So it's absolute. If you've worked with Tailwind CSS, you know what I mean. If you haven't, don't worry, I'm going to show you. So the height, the height for it is going to be 0.4 rem, or, so how much is 0.4 rem? If the font size of the HTML was 16 pixels, it would be like a little bit difficult to calculate that. But when it is 10 pixels, we know for 0.4 rem is basically 4 pixels. That's why I changed it. There is no other reason behind it. The width is 20 rem, and the background image. Now, we are going to use gradients. Gradients are background images. So I'm going to say var gradient primary. Cool, right? Awesome. I'm going to style all the spans for sections title as well. So section titles, they do have span. That's why this text is styled differently than this one, because this is actually this creative team members that is within a span. So I'm going to say section title, and I'm going to grab the span element. I'm going to give it a font weight of 800. That's it. Let's grab all these section paragraphs. So all of them are going to have the same style, font size, var font size. This is going to be, so the font size for the paragraphs, it is going to be a static value and the sizing is going to be small. The color is going to be color secondary 2. There we go. Let's grab the sublinks of our sections. So section underscore underscore sub dash link. Sublink. And for the sublink, we are going to have a font size of var. I hope it is not getting boring. These are some things that you need to keep in mind whenever you're creating websites. So it's really important. These are like, you could think of them like housekeeping stuff that you need to basically, you can do them now or you can do them during your project. I actually want to do this right from the start so I know what I'm actually trying to do in the project. Cool. We are going to have padding. 1 rem top and bottom, 2 rem left and right, and color. When we get to our project, you're going to see how easy it's going to be to utilize these classes. So it's going to be var dash dash color tertiary 1. And it is also going to give you an idea of how much people have worked on with CSS on these kinds of utility first frameworks or libraries for CSS. The transition is going to be 0.25 seconds. Cubic Bezier is going to be 0.39. Where is that? It's going to be 0.39. Where are you? 0.3. There we go. So 0.39, 0.575, 0.565, and 1. After that, let's grab the sublink span. Let's just copy that, put it there. There is going to be a span element, and we are going to say position relative, and I'm going to give it a z-index of -1. There we go. Then we are getting to the end of this, all of these styles. Don't worry about it. So after that, what I'm going to do is within the sublink, we will have icons as well. So I'm going to say position absolute. Top is going to be 20%. Right is going to be -1.2 rem. Color is going to be var secondary 1. Let me just take a look at our colors just one more time. Secondary 1, secondary 2. Cool. Let's jump back, and we are going to have a transition, which is going to be all 0.25 seconds, and the cubic Bezier is going to be the same one that we had previously. I'm going to give it a z-index of -1 as well. Let's grab let's just go ahead and style the hover states for the icon and for the link itself. So let me just remove that one part. Let me copy that. This is the hover state. So hover. And in the hover, what do I want to do? I'm going to say right -2 rem. Oh, not right. This is for the icon that we are going to have. For the section itself, for the link itself, we are just going to change its color to secondary 1. Let's grab the icon and hover that as well. Provide the hover styles. So this is the icon. In case you're wondering what these are, is if you come to the feature section and if you hover on the link, this chevron or this angle bracket, this is actually an icon, and this is how we can go ahead and animate it and hover on. This is animated on hover, and that's why we are providing styles on hover. So right is going to be -2 rem. Color is going to be var color tertiary 1. Save that. So let me just take a look at everything. Everything is looking cool. So we are done with the general styles utility classes. I could name these utility classes. I think that would make it a little bit more intuitive. not intuitive, a little bit more easy to understand. So these are going to be utility classes. There we go. And in our next video, what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and we are going to create the overall layout for the website. So the overall layout for this website lies right here. So if I just click on the body that has a class of an ID of container, this is the overall layout of the body. And you can see how I've actually tried to divide different sections. So that is one section, this is another one, how these lines are created and how these sections are created. You can see that right now. So this is what we are going to do in our next lecture. This is the overall layout, and right after that we're going to jump into coding this website. See you then.